Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing a rather unusual company that is using Palantir. Now you might have heard of them before, but you guys have probably forgot about them. I covered them probably a year ago on this channel. This is not a company that's in the energy space or the healthcare space or supply chains, logistics, blockchain. It's really a rather simple company that's using Palantir. And I wanted to rediscuss why I think they're using Palantir and sort of the diversity of Palantir in this use case. This is the European Cricket Network. Daniel Weston, the CEO and the founder of this company, says, a year developing European Cricket OS with Palantir Tech, and I'm convinced Foundry's the ninth wonder of the world. It makes magic efficiency and decision-making at giga speed and scale, helping us change the course of history for cricket in Europe and growth for the sport we love. Now, this is the founder of the European Cricket Network. The simple business model is that they're a media company. They broadcast a ton of European games. They have advertisers, sponsorships, all this stuff. It's a very simple company at the end of the day. It's not that complicated. And I wanted to do a little bit more of a case study on them today because sometimes I think we focus on the big use cases of Palantir and how it can be implemented across government, defense, and all this crazy stuff. But a simple media company can also use Palantir because they've got a ton of data and they can implement that data in a different way to be able to make decisions. This was tweeted on June 17th by Daniel Weston and it popped up on my feed, and I thought it was just so interesting that he says it's the ninth wonder of the world. For someone to say it's the ninth wonder of the world in terms of, as an entrepreneur, they're using their business, and he's talking about how they can just implement data almost instantaneously and get results. That is like magic, and it's very interesting to kind of see how Palantir is working with them. So I want to take a look at this video and just take a look at how the European Cricket Network is powered by Palantir, and then we're going to do a bit of a deep dive on where Palantir is working in the media space and how they're working with other companies in the context of media and how that space could be a potential growth driver for Palantir. All right, let's take a look at this video.
What I'm most excited about is having the chance to use a combined passion for cricket and technology with Palantir as the platform for making cricket the #1 team bat and ball sport in Europe for the next generation. The European Cricket Network is the digital home of cricket in Europe. The ECN produces live, TV quality broadcasts of European cricket events throughout the year. ECN's innovation has the potential to make cricket the largest summer bat and ball team sport across Europe in the next generation and beyond. We have successfully broadcasted over 1,500 matches in the past 12 months at venues across 33 countries in Europe, with our digital operations being managed remotely in the cloud across 4 time zones. What's keeping me up at night is the connectivity between at-venue production and operations with our remote digital partners and in-house content creation teams. Our anti-corruption and our integrity operations, the weather patterns that are affecting our events, and the product strategy across the board. When we set out to build our tech stack, the key considerations were cost, scalability, and team collaboration. But the biggest problem was the amount of disparate data sets across the organization. So in the short term, our requirements have been stitching together different pieces of information and resource allocation along with analytical tooling on a day-to-day basis. We rely on data and analytics to inform our decision-making and automation with regards to broadcast production, event operations, scheduling and formatting, anti-corruption, integrity, plus audience analytics from all of our digital platforms. Palantir Foundry has let us do things that were never possible before, such as quickly connecting disparate datasets, integrating data and harmonizing it while maintaining granular access controls and data health, quickly surfacing vital information to our operations in a fraction of the time. We now build these applications in hours, not weeks or months or never at all. Essentially, it's engineering lift for a fraction of the price. We are planning to use Foundry's capabilities to scale up our business for the future by accelerating our events and digital platform developments and by powering our operations and productions. With our entrepreneurial intuition, we can now use Palantir to ask the right questions of the data with the best interface and integration tools combined, all in one place. The biggest opportunity for the ECN is to keep continuing to learn what cricket lovers want and how to engage new fans to European cricket.
Now, this was a really, really interesting. I haven't seen this video in a long time, so it forced me to make this video because it reminded me of all the different use cases of Palantir. You've got a sport, okay? It's just a sport. It's cricket. By the way, I don't even watch cricket. I don't care about it. Even though I'm Indian, I'm supposed to have cricket in my blood. I don't have. I like basketball. Basketball is fun to me. And debate. I like basketball and debate, not cricket. But cricket's a big thing. I think it's bigger. I don't want to say it's bigger than soccer or football. I think it's like number 2, but it's the international sport along with football. So obviously there's going to be a ton of money in terms of the media space of covering the sport, covering the athletes, broadcasting the games, etc. The European Cricket Network is wanting, their mission is to connect cricket with European fans and European lovers. And if they can become the central media entity, I would make them similar to like the ESPN of cricket in Europe. Then there's billions of dollars to be made. I mean, it's a massive, massive opportunity as long as they keep growing and they're able to become the de facto home for cricket in Europe. So as a result of that, that is a very simple mission at the end of the day. It's a bold, ambitious mission, but it's not like solving climate change or anything like that, where you would think, oh my God, there's so much data, you need to connect it to be able to solve these problems, multi-$100 million contracts for a company like Palantir. No, it's a media company that's trying to grow their media presence. And in the video, what I thought was so interesting is all the different bits of data that they need to worry about. So they need to actually connect via the third-party vendors, the actual sport, into what they're doing from a broadcasting perspective, right? They need to connect the game from the vendors into people's iPhones, laptops, computers, TVs, wherever they're broadcasting it. That in and of itself requires a massive tech stack. Then they have all these different variables, all these disparate data sources that he's talking about. So you've got something like weather patterns. If there is certain weather patterns in the 1,500 games that they're broadcasting a year and things are going south and you need to immediately adjust, or if you know a couple of days before, hey, we need to adjust in this different way, you can immediately do it via Foundry, because that core foundation of truth, that ontology, is connecting all that data for you to be able to make a decision. If there are problems with different players, if there's problems with different networks, if there's issues in terms of how the game is even being broadcasted because of a specific network error within the jurisdiction of the area that it's being broadcasted in, and there's a host of variables that could contribute to that, all of that is plugged into Foundry. And so you look at them, and then that's not even to talk about the business side of it, right? They've got advertisers, they've got sponsorships, they've got ads that need to be played in certain moments, they've got different promotions they need to get done from marketing, sales, to analytics, to accounting. All of this stuff is built in one operating system. And that's why I think Daniel Weston is like, this is the ninth wonder of the world. This is magic. Because for him as a CEO, he's trying to say, how do I grow the presence of the European Cricket League? Or the European Cricket Network? I need to expand our digital footprint. I need to get more people tuning into these games. And in order to do that, I need to be able to manage my overall software. I need to use software to manage my overall company and be able to figure out exactly what I need to do in a moment's notice. And that's where you get Palantir coming in. And I think that's a really interesting way to think of them, because it's just a media company, which is not the most complicated company in the world, but they're using Foundry. So then I went in to look a little bit more deeper into what Palantir has done in the media space, and I found this case study on their website, Palantir plus Ringier. Since 2019, Palantir has partnered with Ringier to help local newsrooms connect their readers with high-quality content. This is a company in Switzerland that does media. This is the head of digital product that says, because we're able to see all of our data in one place, we're able to better serve to inform our readers, we're able to improve our content and increase our reach, which we are able to increase our revenue, which is very important for the funding of quality journalism that Blick offers every single day. Blick is, I believe, the holding company of Ringier. So this is really interesting. The Ringier newsroom relies on Palantir Foundry to bring together data from disparate sources into one holistic model. With the data in one place, Ringier journalists can access the right data at the right time to serve their communities like never before. I thought I had the video pulled up, but let me just pull it up right here. So we've got Palantir and Ringier, and I want to see the case study with them so that you guys can see how Palantir is operating in the media space for another company that's not the European Cricket Network.
Ringier is a family-owned media company with a big tradition. 180 years old, based in Switzerland. We're doing about 130 media brands in 20 countries. Our commitment is to provide premium journalism to the citizen. We have shifted, of course, like all other media companies, from an offline newspapers and magazines into digital media. The challenge we have for any digital media company on this planet is always the same. How do we provide our users with the right content? Where is the perfect match? How can we offer better content to our users? And there, of course, data comes into play.
When I started as editor-in-chief for Blick.ch 4 years ago, we had in our newsroom over 270 data reports. So there were really a lot of data, but nobody really looked at it. So we knew that something had to change. So together with Palantir, we were able to develop a newsroom tool where all data comes together. Our objectives were that it should be easy to use, accessible for all journalists, and that all data from all sources is accessible in one place. What happened was that all journalists really embraced data. And we see that 85% of all journalists look at Foundry every day.
At any given time, I can log on to the platform and monitor how my articles are performing. I can set targets for myself and my team and keep track on them.
Our KPIs that we set are like unique users per day, page views, sessions, and also time spent.
I can weigh this against other Blick media objectives and make decisions around the content.
Because we see all data in one place, we're able to better serve and to inform our readers. We have reached more readers, and because of the increase in reach, we also were able to increase our revenue, which is very important for funding of the quality journalism that Blick.ch offers every day.
Foundry has helped us to increase our traffic fundamentally. It has helped us to improve our relationship to our readers. And with that, it's not only a technical progress that we could do with them, but it's also a business success.
I'm extremely happy to see our work going forward with Palantir because it helps journalists, but more important than that, it helps the users to get better content.
As you can see, I mean, improving the relationship with your readers is a direct impact as a result of creating better content for them. I mean, even something as simple as YouTube analytics helps me better understand what type of content to make, what type of content people want to see, how to create the content, all that stuff. And if you think about 130 media brands underneath, one company in 20 countries, there's a crap ton of data you're generating at scale to be able to make better decisions. What content is performing better? How many users are we getting? How much time are they spending on the website? All of this different stuff. And 85% of journalists using it every day means that journalists are starting to become a lot more data-driven, at least the good journalists that are able to understand what content performs well and why the content is performing, and able to make decisions as a result of that. I would imagine, a media company like, this probably wouldn't happen, but like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, I mean, these guys control a lot of the media. They probably would never use Palantir because of the whatever association they think that, they have with Palantir. But to be able to get advanced data analytics on how the media is performing and really understand it at a granular level, it is just another use case of Palantir. Is it the most phenomenal use case? Probably not. I think Palantir in different industries works and is just, does a lot more stuff in a different way. But for simple products like media, at the end of the day, media company is one of the simplest businesses in the world. You make media, people consume it, and then boom, you make money off their attention. You monetize it. To be able to have the analytics at such a unique level, to be able to even optimize that when you're talking about the European Cricket Network or Ringier, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty phenomenal, and it's a unique, different way in which they can be implemented at scale. Again, it's not just enough to have the data, it's to store the data. The next generation that we're entering into is how can we interpret the data to make better decisions to drive revenue and save costs. And so I just wanted to bring up this case study because this is one sector that I think people forget about, that Palantir is not only just for the biggest companies in the world, it can be used for smaller media companies. And what it does show is the potential modularization of the product of something like a Foundry to smaller media brands or to smaller businesses in general. I mean, if you're a media company doing $1 million in revenue a year, and you can implement Foundry for $3,000-$4,000 a month and be able to dramatically improve your ability to create better content and drive more awareness, traffic, etc., why wouldn't you, right? And I hope they can come up with a product like this and then sell it to these types of small businesses, because there's probably millions of small businesses doing $1 million a year, or maybe even $1 million a month. And they're leveraging media, and as a result, Palantir can be implemented in them, or they're doing some other type of small business. But because Palantir has already worked with larger companies, they can just take segments of those thick products, make them thinner, and then give them to smaller companies. Not sure what their sales go-to-market is right now. I think their biggest goal is to get AIP in the hands of older corporate clients as soon as possible and upsell them on that. But I think that is definitely a sector of growth. And if media can benefit off Palantir, then I think every sector in the world can benefit off Palantir, which is why I invested in Palantir. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think about the relationship between media companies and Palantir. Thanks so much for listening and watching. I'll see you in the next one.